In the wild multiverse and beyond of DC, there are a lot of stories, and what exactly is canon and what is not canon to one's timeline often is something that you have to consider and dig into very large detail for larger verses like DC, for example, whenever it comes to any character involved. Many scalers incorrectly utilize what exactly is the canon version of a character, and so a new terminology was formed to effectively help out all the power scaling weebs inside the community to see exactly how powerful you could get a specific character if they had access to not just every power they've ever had, but every single version of the character that has ever existed inside their respective existence. The term used to describe this specific thing is called a composite character, or what's commonly known as in the community as a comp character. Comping a character allows you to have a far more than anything that is normally possible for the original character. Shows like Death Battle have utilized this logic consistently throughout their history, but they seem to pick and choose exactly what fits inside their version of a composite character. It kind of got me thinking, that seems to defeat the purpose of like picking and choosing these comp characters. But what would a true comp version of a character look like inside of DC? What would it actually look like if a cool character was comped inside, well, really any verse? And that brings me to one of my favorite characters of all time inside DC. Green Lantern Hal Jordan. What does Green Lantern Hal Jordan look like if you take his comp form into account? It's a good question. Let's find out. What's up guys, it's me Lumos Theromax, and today I'm here to talk about one of my favorite characters ever, which is A, awesome, but B, I'm here to bring you guys a video brought to you by the Theromax Corps members, the guys you see dancing across screen here. They actually requested this video because they get to vote on videos that do get crafted and do get made. This is also why this is going to be the first one released after the great nightmare of the Golden Wonder Woman video fiasco. That being said, be sure to like and subscribe, and maybe if you're OG, consider becoming a member just like they did, because those guys fund me and get to decide content like I said, so you're just missing out in all honesty. Not to mention they get to see all my videos early, and guess what? They've already seen this one for over a week by the time you, the normie, have gotten to see it. So don't miss out on that action, and let's get straight back into it. Let's find out just how wild Comp Hal Jordan is, and keep in mind, these are just some fun parts of Hal Jordan. This isn't even everything at Hal Jordan's disposal. These are just a bunch of fun things I thought putting together would be like the absolute strongest things that Hal Jordan has. So, first up, in terms of Hal Jordan's separate forms, what exactly all fits inside his comp form? Well, I'm gonna open up with a banger, okay? And this banger comes straight out of the Blackest Night event. Well, what exactly did Hal Jordan do in Blackest Night? A lot, okay? And I mean a lot. But in the finale, Hal Jordan manages to overtake the Life Entity. Okay, now the Life Entity is basically the ultimate entity that reigns power over all emotions. It's essentially just the emotional spectrum within the multiverse. And Hal becomes a better host than Sinestro, and whenever he becomes a better host than Sinestro, he actually just starts like handing out White Lantern rings like candy, okay? He revives the entire Black Lantern Justice League. He revives everyone here. He manages to revive the Anti-Monitor, an entire army of Black Lanterns. Like, it was absolutely absurd in terms of what he could do. Now, you think, oh, well, he can just alive people, right? Well, not really, because White Lanterns have power over things far beyond just the concepts of life. Because keep in mind, emotion is life in verse, and thus all emotions are subsidiary to it. So while wielding a lantern, White Lantern ring, he has access to all of the emotions and all of the powers that come with them, which is wildly crazy if you actually think about it. And to give you an idea, the like other White Lanterns in terms of what they've done, like Kyle Rayner at one point in time managed to just pass through the Source Wall. And that's wild, because that's one of the best feats we've ever seen. And keep in mind, one of the final things Hal does during this event is he alives a Black Hand. Keep in mind, the same Black Hand was dog walking the entire Rainbow Lantern League that existed here, and it was the only way to stop Nekron in this story. But the highlight of this by far is reviving the Anti-Monitor, considering that's something that should only be able to be done in the 6th dimension. He's a 6th dimensional being. Low-key wild, if you ask me. Life itself is a powerful weapon, and it's just one of the many foundational energies across existence. I would argue one of the stronger ones, but I digress. We've got more to kind of dig into whenever it comes to that. But if you want more information on foundational energies that exist throughout DC, be sure to click up on the screen up here, and hopefully I'll get you the link to that bad boy. But let's move on. So another absolutely fantastic story. We actually dig into Darkseid War, and for those who don't know, during the events of Darkseid War, there was all these things happening. Darkseid dies, and whenever Darkseid dies, the entire multiverse is affected by that, and it causes people to essentially ascend to godhood. And Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern, was no exception. He was also caught up in these shenanigans. So all of Darkseid's parademons start looking for a power source that's similar to Darkseid, since he had died, and the only thing they can find is the central power battery of Oa. And low-key, if you think about it, that's a jacked statement for the central power battery. But billions of parademons overtake everyone on Oa, killing absolutely everyone there. It's wild as could be. But these parademons utilize a mother box, the same mother box of Darkseid, and they merge it with the central power battery. This makes an ultimate new central power battery mother box hybrid, and the parademons who still worship Darkseid, or at least his mother box, are looking for somebody to essentially become their god, because the parademons don't fit that. And if you don't become the god, they just make you one of the parademons. It's pretty wild. And after they kill everyone, including Jon Stewart, because he's fodder, he manages to, Hal manages to roll up and just start gunning down as many as he possibly can, but even Hal is too exhausted from his fight back on Earth to actually maintain against all of these amped parademons, and even former Green Lanterns, and even Guardians that are here. So Hal merges with this central power battery mother box combination and becomes a new god, something even beyond a new god of light. And Hal's abilities as the god of light just included power over all of space and time with a mother box fused ring. This power set alone was compared to most of the emotional spectrum itself, and he just one-taps the entire army of parademons and reverses time to a point before the parademons had ever attacked, boom-tubed them home, saving everyone on Oa without them ever even knowing what happens. Then he goes on a time-traveling journey back to when he was a kid after his dad dies, and consoles himself as a child, saying, yeah, your dad was a good man, I get it now, bro, and gives him an awesome speech about God. Like, it's 10 out of 10 awesome speech about God. But we're not here to talk about gods unless it's Hal getting those amps. So let's move to the next one and see exactly where we're going. Next up is Hal Jordan from the end of the New 52, and this is where it's like leading into the Rebirth. We're almost right at the end. I want to say it's like even 48 plus in terms of where the issues where we're at. And at this point in time, Hal Jordan actually unlocks something called a full construct mode. But wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. What exactly does that entail? Well, at one point in time, Hal picks up this wildly powerful gauntlet that was made by Krona. One guy actually wielded back, like a while back, and this gauntlet is actually way more powerful than the Lantern Ring, and it begins to affect him in a variety of different ways. And Hal, because he's so driven by will, actually winds up entering a pure state of will where the physical matter in his body is basically just being given up, and his identity, everything is being erased. And you're like, well, wait a minute. That's like a negative, right? Well, guess what? It gives him a massive power boost, okay? And I'm talking absolutely massive. He was capable of absolutely wrecking a time-displaced Parallax who said he needed more power to fight Hal Jordan in this form. And then he absolutely fried a Parallax fear-amped Sinestro down to the bones whenever he really went all out, indicating that that amped version of Sinestro still wasn't even in comparison to base Hal Jordan, because that version didn't even have the gauntlet at that point in time. That was just him using his ring and accessing that same form. So full construct Hal Jordan is low-key wild in terms of what he did, because not only did he defeat that Sinestro, but he damaged him to the point to where it took him months to recover, if he has to this day. And on top of that, he blew up Warworld. You know that thing that Superman went to a while back? He blew the whole damn thing up. Like, think about how insane that is. And created the shockwave that was great enough to be seen at the edge of Sector Zero, the central space sector inside of all the space sectors that exist inside the universe. Space sectors into themselves can get wildly massive, including more than one galaxy. So however you want to take that, take it, bro. Full construct Hal Jordan was pretty crazy. Now, this power actually comes from one of my favorite stories inside of DC, even though it gets the most hate because it introduced someone, you know, people don't like. But during the events of Metal, at the very end, throughout the entire series, the problem with all the people inside this run is they were made out of dark matter. And if you're a positive matter person, you just can't harm dark matter. That's just how it goes. But in order to defeat these dudes who were trying to subsume all of creation inside the dark matter, dark multiverse that existed, there was a variety of things that needed to happen in order to save everyone, and Batman was the key to all of that because he focused at the center of everything. So while everyone was getting their asses kicked, Batman rolls up with 10th metal armor on. Now, for those who don't know, 10th metal is one of the strongest metals in all of existence. It's beyond 8th metal, the metal of the gods. You know, like Wonder Woman's invisible jet is made out of, her sword is made out of. Nth metal, which is like metals from the dark multiverse, like with Hawkman and Hawkwoman's maces and their belts, like all that weaponry, it's all nth metal. Okay, 10th metal is the thing beyond all of that. It's the metal of imagination itself. And so Batman steps up and he just starts throwing these out like Gambit, bro. These little batarangs, man, and he starts hitting all the Justice League members, and one of the members who gets hit is actually Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan gets a 10th metal armor set that is crazy busted, because he goes from getting his ass kicked by these dark knights to immediately turning the tide on them and just one-tapping them all. And he doesn't even do it directly with like the metal on him. It appears that this metal just amped either his physical stats or his constructs to an absolutely insane degree, because of how quick the turnaround was in these battles. If you think, oh, okay, so he just fought some Dark Knights, so that's kind of impressive. No, it gets even more jacked than that, because at the end of that story, the Justice League all hold hands in an ultimate imagination 10th metal seance, and they manage to break the source wall, a hole into the source wall. Look at these scans, bro. Like, Hal Jordan was one of the dudes who cracked the source wall, and he gets grief from all the other Green Lanterns from that point on doing it. But if he could wield these kind of powers consistently, I could only imagine how dangerous he would be in combat. A Green Lantern ring already allows you to make anything you could imagine, but there's a limitation to that. There is no limitation to 10th metal. I mean, even Golden Wonder Woman sought out 10th metal and death metal. That should give you an idea. And if you've seen my video on Golden Wonder Woman, you should know how crazy that actually is. So think about that. Now, this version is probably my favorite, okay? So when Hal Jordan was just roaming around doing his thing, Sinestro, his arch nemesis, and the concept of fear basically teamed up to mind hack Hal Jordan over a series of years, eventually driving him mad after Mongol and Superman blow up his hometown and killing everyone he's ever known from there. So Hal Jordan loses his mind, he gives in to fear, and runs back to the Central Power Battery, killing every Green Lantern in his way, slapping the Guardians out of the way, moving into the Central Power Battery, absorbing its powers and the powers of that fear entity that was inside of there, becoming the person, as he emerged, known as Parallax. Parallax was a nightmare, ragdolling all of your favorite heroes throughout all of space and time. I have a full video on him as well, so be sure to check that bad boy out because it's a banger. But to give you a general idea, at one point in time, he basically was just like, this is boring, I want to bring back Coast City. So he fought a bunch of different heroes, got thrown outside of the time stream at one point in time, absorbed a ton of crisis energies from the very first crisis on Infinite Earths, becoming absurdly power, figured out about a concept called entropy, and began bending the time stream on itself to destroy all of existence. And he succeeds, which is the absolutely wild part. But why would he do that? He's a good guy, right? Well, he just wanted to bring back Coast City, but he saw things bigger than that. He began to recognize that, like, it's not just Coast City, everything sucks. So what if I could create a multiverse where everything succeeded, where none of us lose? You know, in hindsight, I guess Modar kind of just ripped off Hal Jordan, but we'll get to that later. That's a whole video unto itself. So after blowing up all of existence, the last heroes in creation managed to arrive and try to stop him. And with the help of the Spectre, Jim Corrigan, and them just using his powers of creation that he had amassed at this point beyond time, they managed to recreate existence and throw Hal Jordan throughout all of space and time, although they thought they had killed him. But there is no killing Hal Jordan. That's also another video that needs to happen down the way. He's a paradox. Once he exited the time stream, there's no dealing. There's no way you can deal with him. But this guy was just an absolute monster. At one point in time, he later shows up back on Earth and just fries the entire league, even without crisis amps. It's like one of the funniest battles I've ever seen. One of the coolest versions of Hal Jordan. He comes back later on and destroys a Black Lantern Spectre, rips out his heart, rips off his eyelids, rips off his face, and is like, bro, don't act tough with me, cause I'll mess you up, bro. Yo, don't mess with Parallax Hal Jordan. This guy is no joke. Favorite version, man, I tell you that. So we've talked about like a bunch of different versions of Hal Jordan that involve life or imagination or something to do with life, but what about the opposite? Yo, has Hal Jordan ever been powered by death? Huh, you bet your sweet ass he has. Of course he has. During the Wrath of the First Lantern, the Guardians of the Universe actually managed to trap Hal Jordan and Sinestro inside a death realm, the Dead Zone, via Black Hand. And they're like half dead down there, and due to some shenanigans, Simon Bad shows up and Sinestro gets him to take him out, but Hal Jordan has to stay. While Volthoom continues wrecking everything inside of creation, killing everyone there, and threatening to warp all of reality to fit his whims. And Hal's like, bro, I gotta do something. So, like, you think there's no way that Hal can do something while in the realm of the dead, right? Because, like, that can't work. But wait. If you remember earlier on in that storyline, Black Hand actually didn't kill Hal Jordan before, because the Book of Black, this wildly powerful book that is absurdly powerful whenever it comes to its prophetic abilities, anything written inside the book or that appears inside the book is real. And something strange had appeared to Black Hand. It claimed that Hal Jordan would be the greatest Black Lantern ever. Which kind of triggered Black Hand, which is why he didn't kill him. He didn't want him to be better than himself, you know, Black Hand. He didn't want to be a better avatar for Nekron. Unfortunately, during this event, while Hal Jordan's in the Dead Zone, in order to do something, he kills himself. And you think, well, why would he kill himself? Well, he killed himself and wills a black ring onto himself. That makes no sense, because death is the absence of emotion. Will is the center of the emotional spectrum. How do you will something that is the absence of emotion? That doesn't make sense, but Hal did it. Don't get mad at me. Even dudes in the Dead Zone are like, bro, that's impossible. Like, what you doing? And he's like, I had to do it. It is what it is. And then Hal's so powerful that he reaches out from the Dead Zone to the real world, to the Indigo tribe, saying like, yo, we're about to start conning some shit. I hope you ready. The Indigos teleport to the battlefield immediately, and they tear a hole open to the Dead Zone, and Hal Jordan appears and summons every single dead person Volthoom had ever killed. Like, bro, think about you think Naruto has good summoning hacks? Look at these summoning hacks. This is just bullshit, okay? And not only that, not only does this man start tanking attacks and even like weird stuff from Volthoom, that man starts affecting him conceptually, and he still, even while dead, has the opportunity to demonstrate emotions. Makes no sense once again, but Hal does it. Volthoom at this point in time literally gets the energy to recreate all of creation. He becomes the foundational energies that comprise the multiverse whenever it was first formed in Perpetua's hand. low-key wild scaling. And you think like, okay, so like how's Hal dig himself out of this one? Okay, so he's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go back to the dead realm. He goes back to the dead zone, and while in the dead zone, summons Nekron. Like, he wakes him up from his tomb. And then goes back into the real world and summons Nekron there. And Nekron's like, bro, the hell? And Hal's like, yeah, bro, you're gonna kick this guy's ass for me. And he's like, bro, I am death. I'm the big boy. You don't control me. And Hal's like, yeah, but I summoned you, so you're my minion now. You're gonna fight this guy. But hold on. We can't kill this guy, because if we do, we'll kill everything in existence. We'll stop the multiverse from ever happening, because he's become the energies of the multiverse. We have to drain those first. And so Hal just puts his hand out and auto drains Volthoom. Auto drains Volthoom, a dude who literally becomes, like, Hal's energy absorption should be like totality level. That makes no sense how absurd that is. And then afterwards, he's like, yo, Nekron, yo, homie, beat his ass now. And he swipes his ass and defeats him. Yo, this is like purely insane. I don't have an answer for like how did like half of this shit. And you think so like, all right, Volthoom is defeated now. But like Nekron's here. Now Nekron is just gonna unleash the Blackest Night and kill absolutely everyone. No, because Hal's better than that. Look at this. Hal just is like, because there's so many Green Lanterns dying in this battle, Hal's just like, nah, I ain't having that. And just summons a Green Lantern ring to himself and undoes both the Black Lantern ring and the death hacks on himself. He used the Green Lantern ring to just make him not dead anymore. What? How does that even work? And keep in mind, by doing that, he banishes Nekron back to his home realm. What a fucking Chad moment. But not only that, the scaling for anything involved there is wild. And if you think that's wild, we're not even close yet, boys. We're not even close to the big boy shit yet. And now for the real memes that not too many people talk about, okay? This is gonna be the final instance, and I'm sorry if I get a little long and drawn out on some of these, because some of these are just so funny and so crazy to me, and I get animated whenever it comes to Jordan, okay? He's the homie. Believe it or not, at one point in time, Hal Jordan actually became the Spectre. You know, that guy that Hal Jordan, Parallax, had like mopped the floor with like 72 times, but actually for like a whole decade. Yeah, actually that one. Although strong, the Spectre doesn't actually compare to multiple of these other amps I've mentioned before this, so why is this actually like worth even mentioning? Well, that's because Hal Jordan is the GOAT and makes everything better, even the Spectre. This one time in the Spectre 2001 run with Hal is kind of like on this vengeful kind of path. And he's like, yo, if I'm the spirit of vengeance and I'm gonna be killing like evil people, who's the most evil person I can think of? Oh wait, the Joker. Let's go off the Joker, man. So he rolls up and sneaks up on Joker and he's like, I'm gonna fry this motherfucker, right? And he starts mind taxing him. But that's the thing about the Joker, if you didn't know, the Joker is just problem on problem on problem on problem of conceptual layers of bullshit, okay? You think Batman has plot armor? The Joker has plot armor 10 times worse. So the Spectre, keep in mind, the spirit of vengeance, whose whole thing is killing people for being guilty, attempts to do that to him, and instead Hal Jordan the Spectre gets hacked to the moon. He gets like such damage from trying to reach into his mind that he gets thrown to the moon, slams into the moon. And that shit fucked up Hal Jordan's subconscious so much, and his like mind, that Parallax, the entity, splits off from him once more. How? Don't question it, but this is where we're at, okay? So obviously, if you remember my statements about Parallax earlier, yo, Parallax gives no fucks. He'll throw hands with everyone, and he's like, yo, I'm free, I'm gonna start kicking ass again. And so a fight breaks out between Hal Jordan the Spectre and Parallax Hal Jordan, okay? And in this fight, Parallax Hal Jordan just dog walks the Spectre Hal Jordan. And he's like, bro, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill your cousins, I'm gonna kill your family, everybody, you know what? But whoever, I'm just gonna terrorize everyone, because that's what I do. And so Hal, the Spectre gives up. He's like, bro, just don't hurt anyone, like, I'll do whatever. And so, in one of the funniest panels of all of history, Parallax kicks the field goal of a lifetime. after he rips off the Spectre's head and he kicks it into the overvoid. And it's so funny, you just see Hal Jordan, the Spectre's head, flying into the overvoid, man, and disintegrating into nothingness out there. Because there's no concepts, no nothing out into the overvoid. It's nothingness. Anything that goes out there is just destroyed by the volatile energies that exist there. Something that's consistent even all the way up to the 2018 run, which is something really interesting. In classic Hal Jordan fashion, he takes what could only be considered like the biggest L imaginable and somehow converts it into the biggest W imaginable, bro. This was crazy. So, not too many people get kicked into the void, go out there, and then just reappear back. Even Parallax is like, yo, this is bullshit. Like, how are you here? And Hal's like, bro, you don't even want to know what you did for me. You amped me. And Parallax is like, bro, what you mean I amped you? I ripped off your head and kicked you into the overvoid. And he's like, yeah, you kicked me out there, but I was disintegrated into the nothingness. But I was kicked into the void to where the divine presence is at, because that's where he's at. The divine presence surpasses absolutely everything in creation. You gave me the idea to move past any form of individualism and become one with him. This makes him one of the strongest figures we've ever seen in all of comics. I'm not even kidding. This man merged with God after going into the overvoid. Now, class, if you remember correctly, presence is top dog in the food chain. So this dude became one with the power that's relevant even in the modern day. And when he comes back, he's like, yo, now that I am basically mega space void Jesus, I'm gonna fuse you into all of existence. And he does. He just evaporates Parallax and disintegrates him into everything that is. What? Bro, imagine, this is Comp Hal Jordan. This is Comp Hal Jordan, bro. Like, imagine becoming one with God because your head got ripped off and was kicked into a realm beyond anything. Strange flex, but that's just classic Hal Jordan, bro. Classic Hal turning the worst moment possible into the ultimate W. Oh my god, bro. Comp Hal Jordan is jacked. Because keep in mind, a Composite Hal Jordan's going to have all of the feats I've discussed here. And any of the feats I've had in pretty much any of the videos I've referenced in the past as well. But what do you guys think? What did you think of Hal Jordan, the comp version? Do you think I missed something? And trust me, there's like a billion comics out there. I just took what I thought was relevant for Comp Hal Jordan, but it would include any feat Hal Jordan's ever done. What's your favorite feat that Hal Jordan has never done before? What's another character I should cover with like the comp format that I think I could do really well with? Especially like lanterns and stuff, because that's clearly my forte. Tell me down below. If this video gets 100 likes or more, I'd love to do like a Comp Sinestro. That would be sick, dude. Comp Sinestro would go really hard. Ooh, yeah. Or maybe even a Comp Superman. Yo. What would a Comp Superman look like? That would get pretty crazy. If I do a Comp Superman, I might even have good old channel homie Zeus on for that one. Wouldn't that be fun? But with no further ado, guys, I think we're going to call this video there. This was an absolute banger. I really enjoyed doing this. And be sure to like and subscribe for more content down the way, or even consider becoming a member, because like I said, that's how this entire video was made, thanks to my Theromax Corps members, and you already know they're the homies, so become one of those guys and we'll see what we could do for you in the future, or I guess what you could help me with. And no further ado, we're gonna step out of this bad boy. I hope you enjoyed it. Later, Lanterns.
Aftermath, you'll join my list of dead after I tear you in half. And I laughed at the thought of them controlling me. I'm the ultimate dragon that spawned everything. I resist and defy.